Dame versus Penn State, college football playoff semifinal. This game was exactly what we said it was going to be. It ended up turning into something a little bit different in terms of like the over under. I know they smoked the over under, Ace. You know what I'm saying, by the end of it. But this was a great game. This was a physical matchup. This is exactly what we thought it would be. I gotta give credit to, like you said, Marcus Freeman. He deserves credit for this team just being prepared to go the distance. Even when it was like they're out of it and they don't have the answers, they still figure out a way. I want to say the biggest player of that game is Steve Angeli, the backup quarterback for Notre Dame. At the end of the first half, they had no juice, they had nothing going and nothing moving. He gets in. He gets inserted into the game because of Riley Leonard going out, which was with the injury that at the time they thought would have been a concussion. He leads them on a scoring drive at the end of the half that sets up everything that you got in the second half. And the biggest thing I want to I guess one of the bigger things is that Drew Aller is absolutely god awful. He's not awful. But for the guy to have all of the NFL measurables and all of these things they're telling me that he can do, and I never see it. I never see it. He's Jay Cutler with less mobility. And hell, less talent. If I'm being quite honest, he's got Jay Cutler measurables in terms of size and ability. I want to say ability, quote unquote, but I just never see it all culminate into the right package of being able to perform when we're out there on the field. When he's out there on the field, you only can get the receiver. You only can get the ball to your tight end. You only can get the ball to your running backs. You can't find a receiver at any point in time throughout the course of the game. He does work that does very much irritate me, especially for a defense that played as well as it did in Penn State throughout the entire playoff, to not have any backing from your quarterback to be able to put games away. I know it's a killer for that.
I could have sworn I heard like commentators and everything like that. They gave Drew Aller the comparison to Josh Allen, and I just don't think that's fair. That's not just because the size and just because he's on the Caucasian side of things. You know what I'm saying? That just don't make a fair comparison. To Josh Allen or anything like that. And he just announced recently that he is returning back to Penn State. I think him, Singleton, and what's the other brother?
Katron Allen.
Katron Allen. Yeah, Katron Allen's returned as well. So Penn State, they got a lot to look forward to. The game was very physical game. It was a very good game. I enjoyed it. I thought the under was, I thought it was gonna be like a 17-14 finish, but both offenses sparked late in the fourth quarter. I thought Penn State had the upper hand, man, but good way to bounce back. Good way for former South Carolina player Mitch Jeter, man. Hey, I know you don't want to hear that tease, but hey, ice in his veins, bro. So good showing by the Freeman brother. I love a good black coach that can proving himself. And I'm hearing that hey, brother Freeman might be heading to Chicago, bro. NFL team looking at him.
I don't know about that, man. I think it depends on the situation. I feel like if he wins one, he's staying there. But Notre Dame came out and did, like you said, they did what they were supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? They look hot, they look fresh. Penn State just didn't look like Penn State that we know, And one thing about Marcus Freeman that I like, he's very prepared. He's a very prepared coach. A lot of people really don't understand, his preparation for a lot of these games. And, he is an underdog. He will always be an underdog for, obvious circumstances that we both know. But, I mean, he came out there and played a good game of football. And I don't know, especially when it comes to the prediction. I don't know, bro. Like, that's tough. That's a tough prediction, you know what I'm saying? At least for me, because we see what Ohio State doing. We also see what Notre Dame's doing. So it's like, yeah, Tease, I see you. I see
All
you.
right. All right, look. Let me just get the rest of my praise for Marcus Freeman and them boys out before we got to get to the reality of what life is about to be in the next week or so. So, second half adjustments by Notre Dame. Fantastic. For a team that couldn't figure out how to get the passing game going at all, what they did in the second half to neutralize that pass rush, go to the quick game, get the ball out to your running backs, get the ball out in the screen game, and they were able to win out there on the edges. The biggest question about both of those teams were, do you have enough talent on the outside? Do you have enough explosiveness on the outside in order to get anything rolling? And knowing Riley Leonard, we've seen him win games where he's only thrown for like 90 yards passing. So how are you gonna manufacture those plays? But even guys like Jeremiah Love, who didn't get a lot of snaps just due to his limitations with his knee, the impact he had on that game in the second half with his tough style of running definitely paid dividends. You look at that touchdown run is going to be like that's going to be etched in stone in their program history in terms of like what would define a Notre Dame football player on that goal line run. Just the level of grit and the level of determination. They that's what they were able to do. I mean, you talk about even then. For both of these teams being able to survive, not having the greatest quarterback play available, and just being able to figure out ways to inch closer to a victory. Like I said, both of these teams very similar. I think both of these teams are hampered by their quarterback situations. I really wish I wish that one of these teams had a quarterback that could just complete a forward pass on a consistent basis. But ultimately, you got to give credit to Marcus Freeman for how he adjusted in that game once it started looking rocky. Because once you got down 10-0, that game could have got away from you. Penn State not being able to capitalize, James Franklin, much of the same for him. Here's the thing: everything's still the same, and he kind of deserves to get some critique. Because why is it that you still have no idea how to win these big games? You don't know how to win them within your conference. You don't know how to win them out of conference. You don't know. You have no clue of how to finish meaningful ball games at Penn State, and I think that's the part that has to continue to be questioned. Like you said, Ace, they got everybody coming back. Drew Allen's coming back, Singleton's coming back, and Allen's coming back, and they have another defensive player that just announced he was returning as well. Like, hey, you're gonna have all of this talent come back. Can you win the conference? You know what I'm saying? Like can you win your conference? Can you finish in these types of ball games? I would have thought that I'm not gonna lie. Personally, I thought Penn State would be the best matchup for Ohio State just because of familiarity. But you don't even make it to the dance. I mean, they had a solid season, but then you look at the team they even played to even get there. SMU and Boise State. You didn't have the toughest path to even get there, and it plays into the fact of I don't think you played a tough schedule to start with, even coming out of the regular season. So with that being said, I mean, I don't know. Is it still a lot of questions to be asked about James Franklin and what type of program they have with their?
Yeah, man. It's unfortunate. I think James Franklin, he will eventually get it. Eventually, like all great coaches, they're gonna eventually get it. But this is gonna have to be when Ohio State's on the down year, and unfortunately, if Ohio State on the down year, and Michigan might be on the up year. Can you get past those two? It's always those two teams, Michigan, Ohio State. They can get past. So he has to figure out a way. Probably just get better guys, man. Get a legit receiver for him. I think that's just he needs to get a legit receiver for Drew Aller. Got the running backs. The running backs there. Big Ten, so you already believe in the trenches already. So it's there already. Just get you some weapons. Get you some weapons. I think they're in the same boat. It's kind of similar like South Carolina. Good running back. We have the better quarterback. I stand on it, but we just need receivers. So I think that's just the next step.
I agree with that. Same shit. Like defense is always going to be there. Penn State is always known for their defense, especially their front line. And like you just got to go out there and get weapons. Quarterback, yeah, like yeah, but you got to get weapons just to complement that. Um, Offensive line is not that bad, but it's you gotta kind of just you just gotta kind of just make do and just try to get better and just take advantage of the portal and like you're in a conference where you can you can literally fight against. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you got the Ohio State, you got the Michigan, but it's so much easier because you're probably like maybe the third best team in that conference. So I mean, it's kind of like a toss up. But yeah, just Coach Franklin, I just think he's not on the hot seat. He's just coming closer and closer and closer. I think he'll get it eventually as well. But you know, your talent kind of just showed. It showed in that game, just or the lack of that you have, and your defense can only do so much. You got to score the ball, and it just didn't really happen that way. But not to tear another black man down, because two black men playing against each other. You know what I'm saying? We ain't really try to do that, but one of them had to win, one had to lose. You just got to learn from it.
That's facts. That is the facts, and